Martin here from Align Chiropractic, and today's video, what I want to talk about is a really common thing that we see in our practice, which is people who love doing high intensity exercise. So we're talking people who do Crossfit, people who do F45 and all the other versions of it, boxing, those type of things, where the whole idea of it is it's something that people love doing, they want to do regularly, and it's something that you're doing at a high level of intensity, so it does create some pretty specific demands on your body. So sometimes if people have an injury, they've got this sort of challenge where they want to keep training, they don't want to lose the gains in fitness that they've created, but they're also managing an injury. And our experience is that there's a lot of things you can do where you can keep getting a lot of that metabolic effect, you can keep losing weight, you can keep your cardiovascular fitness, you can keep a lot of your muscle mass by keeping training while you're having the injury addressed through chiropractic care. So one of the areas that we commonly see though is people who have an injury in the upper back. So it might be that the vertebrae have jammed up there, which is a really common thing we see. It can be a problem with the way the ribs join onto the vertebra. It can be a problem with the muscles in the area. There's a bunch of different things. A bunch of different types of injuries that you could have there, but the common thing is that it makes a lot of high intensity movements uncomfortable, and you can actually be exacerbating the injury by doing certain movements. So the things that we suggest you don't do are you're not doing things where it's really highly dynamic. So burpees can be really uncomfortable, box jumps can be really uncomfortable, anything with jarring can be uncomfortable, as well as things where it's demanding a lot of range of motion that you don't necessarily have. So within a CrossFit context, kipping pull-ups, within an F45, doing battle ropes and those sort of things where there's a lot of movement through that area that isn't moving properly, it can create a demand that your body's not able to correct. So the sequence that we sort of look at is that early on, if you've got an injury and we're actively trying to get things back on track, we're going to get you to shift focus to doing a lot of lower body exercise, because you can work your lower body without having that impact on your upper body. So for most people, air squats are completely comfortable, lunges are really good, and because of that single leg aspect to it, it's a really good opportunity to develop that sort of balance and stability in your lower body while you're taking the load off your upper body. As far as not losing all your upper body strength, what most people notice is while overhead stuff, pushing overhead and pulling overhead can be really uncomfortable, often reducing the load and going horizontally. So we're talking things like really slow controlled push-ups, or a dumbbell press, chest press, or even a barbell chest press can be okay, as long as you're super conscious of your posture. We're making sure that our head is staying over our shoulder, because often the reason people end up with these mid-back injuries is that it's not from the exercise, it's from too long spent at a computer in this crappy posture. So if you're wanting to maintain some upper body stuff, we're going to do some horizontal pushing, and we might do some horizontal pulling. So we're going to work on pulling our shoulder blades back by doing, a ring row where you're lying down but you're pulling back towards yourself, or you're doing with a machine some sort of rowing exercise. So rows are good, and also push-ups can be good. Next level up from that, let's say we've got some improvement, things aren't 100% in terms of function, we're not out of the woods yet. Once we've got some improved movement in that area and we're starting to change overall posture, we're going to start reintroducing some things. So what we might do is, well, in the early phase we've taken jarring activities like box jumps out, we might get back into doing a step up or something like that. We might go back to doing some pull-ups, so we're going overhead to do a pulling movement, but rather than doing a kipping, more dynamic sort of movement, we'll make it a little less dynamic and only do strict ones, even if that means we're applying a band. So the other applications that we might look at is we might look at we'll do overhead pressing movements with a dumbbell, but we're not going to have the dynamic ones where we're using momentum and that faster cadence that we might normally use in high intensity training. So we'll just slow things down, focus on very slow movements that are a little bit easier to stabilize through that area. So the bottom line with this video is that yes, you love your training, yes, it's inconvenient to have an injury, but for most people they can maintain the momentum, they can maintain their gain if they just tweak a little bit what they do, shift focus to the lower body, shift focus to slower, more controlled movements, cut out the overhead initially, and keep going with your training while you're managing an injury. So, hope you found the video interesting. Leave a comment if you've found it valuable, and hope to catch you soon.